Hello, welcome. I'm calling to order the City of Hendersonville's Finance Committee meeting for October 24th, 2023. Welcome, everyone. I'm Karen Dixon, the chairman. I'd like to go around the room and have everybody introduce yourself, even on the walls. So we'll start with Jeff.
Jeff Sassy, Alderman Ward 3, excuse me.
Tamara Ingersoll, Finance Director.
Jana Garten, Alderman Ward 5.
Terry Goodwin, Alderman Ward 4.
Mayor Jamie Clary.
Mike Cook, IT Manager.
Jesse Eckneroth, Chief of Operations.
Rachel Collins, Alderman Ward 5.
Renee Shepherd, Arts Council.
Jack Davis, Good Neighbor Festivals.
Andy Gilley, Parks Director.
Jamila Logue, Arts Council.
Philip Fryman from the Arts Council Treasurer.
Great. Thank you so much. Do we have any citizens that would like to speak tonight? No? Great. So I'll move on to acceptance of agenda,
So moved.
and I'll second that. So we have an agenda. The minutes, any acceptance of the minutes from the last meeting?
Move to accept the minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
So we have one ordinance on the agenda tonight, and that is the reading of ordinance 2023-25, an ordinance amending budget ordinance 2023-11 by appropriating general funds in the amount of $86,615 for the Arts Festival and approving the mayor to effectuate festival agreements. And so at this time,
No, go ahead.
you accept?
Oh, yes,
Discussion.
move to accept.
Yes, and second, so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So, this is sponsored by Ms. Collins, Alderman Collins.
Yes, it is, because I'm the liaison for the Arts Council. And we have Jack from Good Neighbor here. And so I just want to turn it over to him and Renee to give you guys all the information
Right.
that you need.
That's great.
Okay, Mr. Davis is with Good Neighbor Festivals, and you've probably seen the ordinance, the proposal for the festival is attached to that. You may
Yes.
remember I visited with this group back in May, I think, to kind of talk about, what we were planning and working towards. And so we are here to kind of hope we can move forward with that and get their support. And Jack has got a lot of details he can share with us or questions he can answer.
Well, let me ask you,
Yes.
Renee. I think, May, it seems like it was just last month.
I know.
But I think we were talking about maybe just under 50,000 at that time to appropriate. Were we, or has it always been 86?
Well, so what this is, and you'll see in the projections in the packet, is that the entire festival is a little over 100.
Right.
And so we had some budget dollars in Arts Council budget for this year. And we've spent that to engage with like phase one with Good Neighbor of the festival. So planning and
Right.
kind of getting sponsorship moving and that sort of thing. And so this is the remainder of the expenses. And we do anticipate that there will be revenue streams to cover a lot of that, the majority of that.
Right.
But these are the expenses that we need to kind of consider to move forward.
Okay.
I can help with that a little bit,
Yeah,
I think.
We were talking about under 50, but
So the budget for the festival hasn't changed since then.
Okay.
But because we've never really done anything like this, the most similar thing would be the concerts that the Parks Department has. So we realized that if we were getting sponsorship money and getting the vendor fees from the artist deposited into the account for the city, for the Arts Council, that we would have to RFP everything, stage rentals, security, because it's over the dollar amount and it adds so much bureaucracy to the process. So what we've decided to do, we never really decided to do that, but that was the initial thought. But what we've decided to do is have all of that go through Good Neighbor. So the dollar amount for appropriation has become larger. Most of the
Okay.
expenses are covered by the budget of the event through the fees and such. except for the sponsorships that are needed to cover it. So I think that's really the risk that we're taking on. But I do think that that portion of the budget is, I don't think it's much of a risk. They've already raised a good bit in like
Okay.
3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Let me ask Tamara or Jesse, whatever revenue we get out, will that go into our general fund or will that go into the Arts Council's fund?
It goes into the general fund.
Okay.
So if the event is profitable, which first year events can be, but certainly by the second year, we would want to have a profitable event. We would hope that BOMA would see fit to allocate those profits back to the Arts Council, because that's the plan, is that we hold an event that benefits the arts community and the general community and make money, which we can then use to provide
More
More
art-related activities, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the purpose overall.
I guess we would discuss that during budget season, during our budget cycle. Okay. Do you have anything, Jim?
I do, thank you. Now, is this expected to just be once a year? The arts festival?
Correct. It would be the second weekend of May every year.
Second weekend. And I was looking through this information. Thank you for providing all this information in the packet, by the way. This is a lot of great info to just help us make this decision. And I saw a lot of information about budget numbers.
Mhm.
Holy cow, the Nashville Pride Festival,
I saw that.
$1.4 million
I saw that.
just for the
Yep.
budget. But I didn't see anything on here about how much revenue they got from that amount of budget. So do you have those numbers available?
I can't speak exactly. So you also have to take into account that specifically the National Pride is a nonprofit organization whose mission is a little bit different. They don't run a for-profit festival, but they essentially run a break-even festival.
Sure, I know, I was just making it stated, but I was just wondering if you had those numbers available that you could bring to BOMA if we approve this tonight.
If yes, I mean I can bring the expenses if that's what you're looking for.
I'm actually looking for a breakdown of how much income versus expenses and how much revenue was achieved from that.
Okay, I will have to get that approved from them because we are hired by them.
Gotcha.
Oh,
That-
Okay, yeah, if you don't have,
Share
if you're unable to get that, just let us know.
Okay. The rest of the events that we own, like Tomato Art Festival,
Yeah.
that's easy to provide. That all runs through our company.
Okay, yeah, any numbers you can provide for us to help us make that decision would be greatly appreciated. Let's see. And then, so we already contributed, what was it, 19.5, is that right? That was what we budgeted?
Yeah.
Correct.
Great. And, but phase one is showing it was 21,450. So,
So a little bit somebody in here could probably speak better at this, but it was already allocated. The 19.5 was already allocated, and what you're looking at was the original proposal that was sent in. And we essentially just agreed that we would be fine with the 19.5 and add because I think the 86 number it adds up to the same amount.
okay,
Okay. I get that.
gotcha. Yeah, because then I see in phase two, that 19.5 is shown in phase two. So is that looking for another 19.5 or? Because the initial 19.5 I thought was expenses for phase one,
The
correct?
initial 19.5 is for phase one, and that is for the neighbor festivals. That's the festival management fee
Mhm.
for doing all the things that they're doing in phase one. And so in phase two, that would then be, what is that, 20,500. So it just shifts a bit because those are funds that we had available, and so they adjusted accordingly.
The Arts Council was allocated funds this year in the budget 13.5 and saved some residual money from the previous year to put to that. So we haven't allocated money specifically to the festival. It was the Arts Council allocation in the annual budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are correct. In phase two, the income that we would be looking at is the sponsorship, parking, merch, food, and art. not the city funding. That's
So that should not be listed in this phase, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, thank you. And then I see it's like, there's a summary of everything on the next page there, which makes perfect sense. So are these numbers derived from your experience in similar festivals?
Yes.
Okay, how many people are we hoping to get from an arts festival like this?
I would say success looks around 5,000.
Okay, 5,000, and we're looking to have it where?
Saunders Ferry.
Saunders Ferry Park, okay, shoot, wish Sarah was here, well, Jesse, so we only have a 1 lane in and 1 lane out, of course, you can go down, not only Saunders Ferry, but also Walton Ferry, but can we handle that much traffic going down there all the way to the end of Saunders Ferry?
Well, it's a
Road
2-day
trip.
festival, I believe, and so
Correct.
if you split it up half and half over the course of the day, typically the arts festivals that I've been to have a steady trickle, and it's not like a concert venue where everyone comes at one time. So I think the impact of 2,500 per day the park would be able to handle it.
We
So-
also manage the Middle Tennessee Highland Games that's at that same park, so we're used to the traffic pattern
Great.
and parking there.
And how many people come for that?
Over the weekend, we did about 9,800 this year.
Okay, well, great, I think that pretty much answers the traffic question.
And the Parks Board did approve the location and the date, so
Great.
that's already been done.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay,
So is there a charge to get into the festival or parking fee or?
There's not a charge to get into the festival. In a perfect world, we will raise enough sponsorship to not have to charge for parking, but we do have a line item down in this budget.
Okay.
But ideally, if we raise enough, we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
But it is an option that we would have if we needed to.
Andy, do you have anything to share with us? Or you guys have any concerns or?
I mean, we would treat this just like we did the Highland Games, or, I mean, we'll have 10,000 people in the park November 2nd and 3rd for the state cross-country meet. And then that's next week. There's probably 2,000 people down there this afternoon for the regional cross-country. I'm not concerned at all about the traffic or the ability to fit this festival in the park.
Great.
okay.
These folks are probably the best event group there is to work with.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
how much, Renee, where is the Arts Council on sponsorship right now?
Well, we, Jack has probably got this here. We have had some commitments already. We do have a, title sponsor.
Which is US Bank.
Right.
And Sumner County has already deposited 5,000.
They have, yeah.
The Evening Rotary Club at 2,500, and then we have some pending sponsorships. Publix at 10,000, Bluegrass Beverages, and a few other home remodeling places. So we're confident we're already close to 35,000. And to give
Not gonna stop there, right?
no.
One.
This is for context. I mean, we do a lot of sponsorship, and this is more than we have for any of our other events next year
That's
already.
awesome.
That's great.
Says a lot about our community.
And I'll probably ask each of you to sponsor.
Well,
So you know.
Well, we're at an interesting time in the year too, I think, where companies can look at spending dollars they still have remaining in this year's budget, but they also can, commit to something for next year's budget. So we're kind of in a nice spot there, I think, in our
Right.
conversations.
Well, I'm excited about this. I think it will be a great event for Hendersonville.
Yeah, we don't have anything like this.
No.
In the city right now, and this will be a great addition, I think, and I'm willing to give it a shot. So with that, I'm ready to vote on that, and I will co-sponsor this with you. if
Oh
you're
my
ready for
gosh,
that.
thank you, Jeff. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
I actually will
this
too.
is- Yeah, there we go. And Mark will too, I'll speak for him.
I bet he will.
All
Right.
right, so
I'm ready to vote.
all in favor?
Aye?
Aye. I'll second you, and so our final vote is
Is an aye.
aye.
All right.
Great. Approved. So we'll move on to other agenda items, and I'll turn it over to Tamara.
Do you want?
Thank you,
I
guys.
think we're gonna
Thank
need
you
some.
very much.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Jack, thank you. Renee, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Renee, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
Jack, good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Renee.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I like to leave it.
Sorry to be so
That's okay.
Oh, this is the fun, that was the fun part. Now we gotta talk about sales tax.
Yeah, sales tax.
And I'm getting choked up about it.
So the state share sales tax, we got the number for September's taxes, and it is up a little
Excuse me.
bit from where we were at the end of August.
Yeah.
So we're looking, up about just under 2% from over last fiscal year. We are looking pretty good compared to what we budgeted for the state share sales tax. We budgeted a little bit low, and so we are coming in
Okay.
pleasantly, surprisingly okay at this point in the year.
9% over budget looks like.
Right about 9% over budget.
Okay.
Next page, the local sales tax. This is the same that you saw last month. We don't have the numbers for September
Okay.
yet. We will have them probably by the end of this week. I can email them out if you'd
Yeah,
like me
please.
to. So this one, we're still, pretty flat compared to last year.
Yeah.
Hotel motel, this one, numbers came in, higher than they were last year, which we expect with that tax increase. I do have to say that one of the hotels that paid the correct rate for August paid the incorrect rate for September, so I'll be reaching out to them tomorrow. And then the one that paid the incorrect rate in August paid a different incorrect rate
Wow,
for September. So
Glad I sent him that letter a year ago.
we will. Well, and they had contact with all of the hotels individually as well outside of the letter. So, but we're still looking good. The dollar difference on it is, very minimal as far as the impact. It's maybe, $500
Oh,
is the
okay.
difference.
Okay.
It's not anything substantial as far as the impact there, but we will get those extra dollars in. Eventually they'll get it straightened out. So that's looking good. Investment earnings are still looking pretty darn strong. The interest rate with LGIP just keeps creeping up just a little
Wow.
bit.
This looks great.
You will see, again, I mentioned this last month, but the total earnings are a little bit lower, but property taxes, the tax bills were loaded about a week ago. We started getting revenues in. Tax bills, folks should see them in the mail probably the end of this week. And so that amount, as we receive tax revenues, will start going up and up.
Great.
So this is definitely looking good. We keep on this trend, we will be bringing in more than what our budget was.
Why, if the pinnacle rate is 4.71, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it going down, the amount?
The dollar, because the amount of money we have to invest goes down as a majority of our revenues are property taxes that start coming in October. So as we get closer to that, we have fewer and fewer dollars that we have to invest both in LGIP and in Pinnacle.
Oh, I thought this, okay,
Yeah,
thank you. I thought
Yeah.
this was a stationary amount.
no, the total dollars, the amount in Pinnacle stays, it's more flat as far as what we invest than LGIP, but overall total dollars to invest are just less because we have less money in the bank.
Now, the LGIP is stationary now, right?
No.
No, that one
No, we have-
fluctuates as well?
No, we pull, as our Pinnacle balances drop, we pull money out of LGIP to make sure we have enough operating cash flowing through Pinnacle. So, yeah. So LGIP will start growing probably, you'll see it in November. You'll see some growth there as we start getting more property tax revenues in.
Okay.
And then the last one, the stormwater report, again, you're not really seeing a whole lot of revenues come in. Those revenues are tied to property taxes. So you're really going to, in October, you'll see a little bit of a jump because we did start some collections in October, where last year we didn't start collecting until the end of November, early December. So we'll start seeing the actual revenues coming in over the next few months for that. And then, we'll also see some additional expenditures as the stormwater projects get going, and we have some grant money budgeted in there as well.
Great. Okay. Any other business?
I have one thing for other business if you have a second.
Sure.
Over the course of really about the past 18 months, we've been looking at some of the expectations we have of our finance department. And one thing that we quit doing is withdrawals from people's checks. So we begin to quit doing withdrawals from people's checks that aren't about benefits, aren't about investments, and aren't about city functions. So really there are three, and that was United Way withdrawals, Association of the Firefighters, and FOP. So we took out the United Way withdrawals about a year ago, and we just, instead, the city made a contribution that the board voted on. That we did that instead of withdrawing that from individual paychecks. If somebody wants to get their paycheck and write United Way a check, that's fine, absolutely fine. But we're not handling the administrative part of that anymore. And this was done some time ago administratively before I was here, that that allowed or required that the finance department withdraw money from people's checks for outside functions, outside organizations. We need to have our finance department focus on city finances.
Right.
So sometime before the end of the year, what we're going to do is we're going to encourage those two organizations to approach banks for an automatic bank draft. So instead of the finance handling that, then the banks would handle that. And so we would not withhold that money and then write a check to the FOP or the Firefighters Association. The banks those organizations need to get with the banks and have them do the automatic bank draft every year. So it would take away a burden of our staff. And we'll probably make that change sometime between now and the end of the year.
Okay.
Just want to give you all that update.
I knew that we had previously discussed this. I knew we had started this. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
That is me.
Alderman Jackson? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
That's fine. Okay, I'll talk to you. You sent me what I need.